Hello, my friends. It's time for another episode of Wisdom Sucks. And it's me, Spike Mike, here to kind of share with you guys a little bit about what's going on with me today. So I was thinking a little bit about a lot of things because I always do think lots of stuff. And, my head never seems to slow down. And one of the things that's been really important to me throughout the course of my lifetime, before recovery and everything, has been the relationships with human beings that I have. I've been very fortunate in so much as I've gotten to know and be friends with an awful lot of people that are great, great people. I've had long-term relationships with people that have lasted most of my lifetime. There's a couple people in my life that I've known since I was 10, 12 years old. And they've survived, and so have I, which has been nice. But one of the things that I want to talk a little bit about in regards to wisdom and relationships is that, there's been a lot of times in my life where I created boundaries and, people have violated those things, and I've excommunicated them from my life. I just got out the people eraser and, fuck you, I'm not freaking dealing with you any further, because most of the time it was over words, over things that people said to me. And, words can be so painful at times when you take them at face value. But one of the things that I didn't know how to do until, really started looking at my part in things, was seeing that there's a lot more to what's going on than just the harmful comment that's being made. It doesn't mean the harmful comment is okay. It just means that, sometimes I need to consider, especially when I'm going to sit here and tell you guys how important relationships are to me, it's kind of, it doesn't make any sense for me then to end a relationship over a few comments, over some things that are said. In recent times, one of the things that has been very difficult about the relationships in my life is there have been, I know a lot of people. I have a lot of people I've spent some time with, and I'm a pretty transparent guy, so I talk about what's going on a pretty deep level most of the time, and so I make friends pretty quickly and pretty easily, and because we establish a level of trust, and people know they can trust me with difficult things. And there's been some friends that have made some choices in regards to their political belief systems or their religious belief systems. And it would be very easy for me to just kind of fade out and not talk to those people anymore, and more or less decide that friendship isn't necessary or worthwhile. And I can't make any decisions for anyone else, but I can tell you, for me, that creates more pain than it does joy in my life. And so I choose to do the best I can to let other people have their choices. I mean, we all woke up human this morning. You'll hear me say this over and over again because it's something I really believe in. And, we all woke up human this morning, and one of the things that involves being human is having choices and being able to make a choice. And it doesn't have to make sense to anyone other than the person making that choice. And sometimes there are elements that we're involved with as human beings that we make choices at times based in emotion rather than fact or figures or things that it seems would help us make decisions better. And sometimes for me that can be a problem. And I have ended some relationships with people over emotion, over the way I felt about choices they had made. Definitely there are things that are just beyond the line of reason and that are not okay. There's harm to others who are unable to take care of themselves and defend themselves. That's something that I personally can't tolerate. It doesn't mean I won't listen to that person who's creating that harm if they are seeking help. But if they are seeking, if what they're trying to get out of me is I'm going to condone whatever they're doing, that's not going to happen. Period. Because I have my moral values that I live by life by. That's my code. That's what I live by. and everyone else has theirs. And so, I think that there's, let me put it this way. I think that when we live by what was at one time called a value, I think it's more of a warning and more of a control issue, to not discuss politics and religion. I think that we did ourselves a disservice by doing that, and other people did so to teach us that. Because what is involved with those two things so often is trying to convert one's belief system from one to another, or try to invite them in, and sometimes it can become more than an invitation. It can be somewhat forceful, and when fear is used, it's not, I don't believe it's the best way to invite someone to follow the way that you believe. And I think that's where the politics and religion thing comes in, is, our maybe my parents, when they told me that those are two things you don't discuss, they left out the part that says those are two things you don't discuss if you're not going to be willing to stand your ground and let the other person stand their ground. That's the part, it's like there's a level of diplomacy. I believe it's okay to share what you believe in, as long as you don't expect someone else to join your belief. Then it's just a discussion. But when it turns into a situation where someone's trying to push someone in one direction or the other, and then they start giving evidence and start saying this, it's just, that's where it gets lost. And I've not turned away from those conversations in the last few years. I've tried to listen and ask for a point where I can, state what I believe. And I clearly try to define that with, I'm not trying to change what you believe, but this is what I believe. And, and I leave it be at that. Sometimes there is no answer to what someone states, because they're just talking about what they believe in. It's okay to leave it at that. It really is. I've experimented with that an awful lot, and it's worked pretty well. So I guess the point that I'm trying to share about wisdom in regards to, these kinds of things and communicating with other people in relationships and stuff is to really, like, the best way I can be a friend to someone else is to just listen to them and not try to correct or change what they're talking about or what they're doing unless they ask me. And then I can offer them a perspective, and I clearly try to define that that's all it is a perspective. And that's it. And another part that's important in relationships, I believe, is maintenance. Oftentimes I find myself saying to myself, like, I'm the one reaching out in relationships and reaching out in friendships, and driving the extra distance to go spend some time with them, and that's all maintenance. And when my head starts to tell me that I'm the one doing all the work in the relationship, so what is it worth? I remind myself about the times I have with those people that I enjoy. And I remind myself that the reason why I maintain those relationships maybe more than others is because the time that I enjoy with them is that enjoyable, and it's very worthwhile to me. So it's my choice to have around me the people that I want to have in my life. And it's okay to not invest in the relationships that I don't have time to maintenance, or I don't have, I'm not able of maintaining because maybe I don't like the way this person believes and all of that. And again, we get choice, If I were supposed to maintain every single relationship that I've been involved with over the course of my lifetime, I certainly wouldn't be human. There's no way that you could possibly do that. So there's also, I've been able to create friendships with people that I rarely get to see, but when I do see them, it's like we haven't been apart. And those kinds of relationships can be maintained through social media and other methods, phone calls, and so on and so forth. It's to me, relationships are extremely important, because the people that I know, the people that I meet, the people that I spend time with, the people that I haven't met yet that I get to spend time with going forward, you're all part of what makes up me. You're all part of who I am, because you're part of my experience. And a baby that is shut off from the world and never experiences anything doesn't develop socially, and doesn't develop the ability to communicate with other human beings. And I think that that's a very important part of who we are as humans that woke up human first this morning. So with that, I will put an end to this episode. I will thank you for listening, paying attention, and watching. I want to one more time remind you that the reason why I'm doing these things, that I'm creating these videos is in an effort to help the San Diego Music Foundation's Guitar for Kids program. There will be a link to their GoFundMe in the comments under this video. And I also want to send out a special thank you and welcome to those of you that are my friends now. Please continue to be who you are, and I look forward to the time we can spend together in the future. You all be good to you, and I will see you soon.